evening fell across the port nigh on Zaru. A light rainfall could be heard against the cobblestones as a cloaked figure sat on a garden wall of the merchant prince Ethan. Like clockwork, the figure suddenly moved, dropping down into the yard below and dashing across to the villa. With dexterous movements it maneuvered its way up onto a balcony. A cozy, well-lit room could be seen through the floor-to-ceiling windows. The light lit the figure's face, revealing a tabaxi rogue. A humanoid paw slowly reached out to test the door handle. Expecting it to be locked, he was surprised to find it was not.
Well, that was easy,
he muttered under his breath before he opened the door and quickly slinked inside, closing the door behind him with a soft click. Knowing he had a very short time frame before Ethan would return from Ileana's diversion, the rogue lunged for the bed, his paws feeling around under it, trying to find where Ethan had the triggering mechanism to his secret vault that he had spotted him using from his stakeout from earlier that day.
Come on, where is it?
Dread set in that maybe he had hid it somewhere else, but then,
Aha!
he said maybe a little bit too loudly. The rogue stilled, listening for the guards to barge into the room, but there was no sudden alert.
Careful there, Spare,
he whispered to himself. There was the sound of stone rubbing on stone, and a panel in the wall suddenly opened, revealing the hidden vault. Moving out from under the bed, Spare cautiously walked over, peeking his head, and his jaw dropped at the sight before him.
Spare, you are a very, very lucky cat,
he said gleefully. Valuable jewels laid on a table against the far wall of the vault. Pieces of art were displayed as well, and Spare's eyes went wide with the amount of wealth that was suddenly staring back at him. The whole room was worth more gold than the rogue had ever had in his entire life, or seen for that matter. He would be a fool to take any of it, and a fool for letting the opportunity pass him by. Pulling a sack he had tucked into his belt out, he began to put the treasure in it as carefully as he could. He heard them then, footsteps, voices. His body went tense and he could hear his heart beginning to beat loudly in his ears. The voices passed, as did the footsteps. Since he couldn't hear anyone from the other room, he assumed he was still safe.
Right, time to definitely go,
he thought. Tying a knot in the top of the sack, he heaved it up onto his shoulder. Wasting no time, he hurried out of the vault. The sound of stones scraping sounded again. The panel slid back into place, and Spare hurried to the balcony. Closing the door behind him, he climbed back down. The rain had picked up more into a downpour, covering the sound of his feet squelching in the mud as he dashed across the yard, climbed the garden wall, and disappeared into the night.